This video series attempts to provide an esoteric analysis of the Holy Scriptures, offering an antidote to the distortions promoted by literalist and uninitiated readings. Rooted in the principles of Empyrean dragon magic and aligned with the Illuminist mission of advancing humanity toward unity through rational spiritual gnosis, the series invites viewers to embark on a progressive, interpretive journey. Each new video builds upon the last, creating a cumulative hermeneutic architecture that reveals the Scriptures as a coded metaphysical narrative for magic and self-realization. And God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." Genesis 1, verse 6. In the preceding lecture, we examined the creation of light and its separation from darkness, a process described as good, in the sense of being harmonized with the highest principle of reason and aligned with the Platonic order, thereby completing the first day. We emphasized that this day should not be read in a literal, temporal sense, but rather as a symbolic marker of the mind's initial stage in its ascent towards self-realization. This inaugural stage represents the emergence of consciousness from the depths of the unconscious. Without the faculty of consciousness, the mind lacks the capacity to contemplate itself and thus cannot attain meaningful self-understanding. Within this symbolic framework, light signifies knowledge, wisdom, and the logos, divine reason at its highest articulation, while darkness represents that which remains hidden, unconscious, and imperceptible to the inner vision, the realm of latent potential. Turning now to the 6th verse, we enter the second stage of this metaphysical journey. Here, God, understood as the unified field of all minds, affects the separation of waters from waters. The so-called vault, more traditionally rendered as firmament or expanse, is not to be conceived as a material sky, but as a metaphysical membrane, a boundary condition of a mathematical and ontological order. The critical question, then, is what precisely this metaphysical membrane divides. In our reflection on the 2nd verse, we established that waters symbolize the undifferentiated contents of the unconscious over which the Spirit of God, that is, pure awareness, hovers in potentiality. It is essential not to conflate the separation of light from darkness, described in the first day, as the initial stage of the mind's spiritual unfoldment with the subsequent separation of the waters. The division of light from darkness signifies the distinction between knowledge and ignorance. Knowledge being expressed through conscious apprehension, concepts, ideas, thoughts, and contents drawn into illumination from the obscure depths of the unconscious and unexplored. By contrast, the waters serve as a symbol of the ocean of unconscious contents, latent potentialities, and unactualized capacities of the mind. This ocean is best understood as a vast frequency domain that has not yet been structured into the space-time order of manifestation. Human existence unfolds within this mathematical ocean of waves, which constitute the primal thought forms from which all subsequent realities emerge. As we have previously outlined, the process of creation proceeds through 3 ontological stages. First, the eternal Platonic domain of perfect forms, where archetypal concepts abide. Second, their translation into thought as ideas in dynamic expression. And third, their concrete embodiment within the material domain. What becomes evident at this juncture, however, is that this triadic process possesses a dual aspect, mediated through the separation of the waters by the metaphysical firmament. The firmament itself functions as a structural boundary condition established through the logos of the monad. Its role is that of a frequency filter within the vast oceanic field of mathematical waves. This filtering is not arbitrary, but rather a necessary condition for differentiation, intrinsically connected with the primordial act described in the 1st verse, the creation of the heavens, representing the mental domain, and the earth, representing the material domain. A fascinating secret within the creation myth is its veiled correspondence with the 7 Hermetic principles. The first stage of creation, the first day, correlates with the inaugural Hermetic axiom, "The all is mind, the universe is mental." This principle reflects the dual-aspected monism of the mind, wherein consciousness is distinguished from the unconscious. The heavens as the mental domain of becoming, and the earth as the material domain of becoming, together reflect this duality, while their non-local ground of being, expressed as a mathematical singularity, God in its transcendent aspect, represents the unifying source. This framework illustrates how all phenomena arise within mind, are sustained through the collective hive mind, and ultimately return to mind, much as dreams arise, are experienced, and dissolve back into the dreamer's awareness. The second stage of spiritual unfoldment, articulated through the separation of the waters by a metaphysical vault, encodes the second Hermetic principle, as above, so below, as below, so above. Although the text has not yet advanced to the 7th verse, we may already discern that the establishment of this orientational axis, the act of separating the waters, is intrinsically related to the primal distinction between heavens and earth. Without the firmament functioning as a boundary condition, existence would remain an undifferentiated abyss, devoid of relational structure. In such a state, no distinction could be made between the heavens and the earth, since up to this point, both remain in a merely ideational form.